Have you ever felt this? You walk into a room full of people, everyone's polite, everyone's smiling. And then, like clockwork, the first words come. Hi, how are you? You answer the same way you always do. I'm fine, and you? And then, silence. No spark, no memory. The conversation dies before it even begins. Marcus Aurelius once wrote in his Meditations, "If you must speak, speak only what is necessary." Yet, here we are throwing away the rare chance to connect with empty, lifeless words. Neuroscience reveals something powerful. The human brain learns to ignore repetition. Like the hum of a ceiling fan, you notice it at first, but moments later, it disappears. That's exactly what happens when we use generic greetings. Our words vanish into the noise. So how do you make sure you're not forgotten? How do you leave an impression that lingers long after the conversation ends? Today, we'll uncover 4 simple words, 4 timeless tools of Stoic wisdom so magnetic they can shift the energy in any room, lower defenses, and draw people closer without force. Stay with me until the end, because I'll also give you one powerful phrase, a phrase that replaces "Hi, how are you?" and instantly transforms the way people see you. And if this message resonates, if you believe words can shape destiny, consider subscribing to the Stoic Habit. Together, we rise stronger, calmer, and unforgettable. 1. Understand. The power of truly seeing someone. Picture this. You're in the middle of a heated argument. The other person's face is red, their voice trembling with anger. Every instinct in you wants to push back, to defend yourself, to win. But you don't. Instead, you take a breath, look them in the eye, and say slowly, "I understand you." And in that moment, the atmosphere shifts. Their breathing softens, their shoulders drop. The tension loosens its grip. Why? Because beneath every mask of pride, beneath every outburst of rage, there is one universal human hunger, the hunger to be understood. Modern science calls this affect labeling. When emotions are named, the brain changes. The amygdala, the alarm system, quiets down. The prefrontal cortex, the center of reason, empathy, and control, lights up. By saying, "I understand you," you are not just offering words, you are offering relief. You are guiding another soul out of the storm and back into calm waters. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus reminded us, first learn the meaning of what you say, and then speak. To understand before reacting is to master the ego. It is to choose clarity over pride, connection over conquest. And this is not theory, it is power in practice. Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors alive, has built his empire not on talking, but on listening. In negotiations, he rarely imposes his will from the start. Instead, he begins with empathy. "I understand the way you see this." Instantly, defenses fall. The room shifts from battle to partnership, and that creates the space for true influence. But here's the deeper truth. Understanding alone is only the beginning. Because to truly connect, you must move beyond "I understand" into something greater. So the question is, how do you transform simple understanding into real alignment, into the kind of bond that makes someone feel you are standing right beside them? 2. Sense. The bridge between minds. Now imagine this. Someone is pouring their heart out. They're explaining a decision, a struggle, a dream. You don't fully agree. You may even see things differently. But instead of rushing to correct them, you nod and say, "That makes sense." Those 3 simple words carry enormous weight, because what you're really saying is, "I heard you. I respect the effort you put into explaining this. Your reasoning has value." And that recognition is rare. Psychologists call it emotional mirroring. When we reflect another person's thoughts back to them, we confirm their reality, and humans feel closest to those who affirm their experience of the world. On a deeper level, our brain actually rewards us for this alignment. Dopamine is released, trust rises, a quiet bond forms. The Stoics understood this. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, be tolerant with others, strict with yourself. Saying that makes sense is an act of tolerance. It shows discipline over the impulse to dominate. Instead of proving someone wrong, you prove that they matter. Think of Elon Musk. Known for his bold ideas, he often faces harsh criticism. Yet in countless interviews, when pressed with skepticism, he begins with, "That's a fair point. That makes sense." Then he adds his perspective. By doing this, he disarms tension and invites dialogue. People don't feel attacked, they feel acknowledged. And that acknowledgement is what keeps conversations alive, even in disagreement. But here's the key, don't stop at a vague, "That makes sense." Add depth. Say, "That makes sense to me, because I see how you reached that conclusion." Precision transforms the phrase into a mirror, and when someone sees their own logic reflected back, they feel safe, they feel close, they feel drawn to you. And yet this is only the second step, because while recognition creates connection, there is something even more powerful. The moment you dare to validate not just their reasoning, but their truth. So what happens when you look at someone and simply say, "You're right"? 3. Right. The strength in yielding. Picture this moment. You're locked in a heated discussion. Voices rise, pride stiffens, and then, instead of fighting for every inch, you pause, breathe, and say, "You're right." Those two words can feel almost impossible to speak, because the ego whispers, "If I admit they're right, I lose." But here's the truth. Recognizing someone else's truth does not diminish you, it elevates you. Psychologists call this the power of confirmation bias. We are wired to feel warmth toward those who validate us. When you say, "You're right," you're not surrendering authority, you're opening the door to trust. Seneca once wrote, "It is the mark of a great mind to embrace truth, no matter where it comes from." The insecure need to win every argument. The wise know when to yield. Think of Steve Jobs. Known for his intensity, he wasn't always easy to work with. Yet there were moments, even in fierce debates at Apple, when he would suddenly stop and say, "You're right about that." Instantly, the temperature in the room dropped. Tension dissolved. The people around him felt seen, valued, and ironically, this ability to yield in the right moments made his leadership even more magnetic. Because here's the paradox. When you validate someone else, you don't lose respect, you gain it. People are drawn to those who don't need to win every battle. They see in you not weakness, but maturity. The maturity to put truth above ego. But caution, "You're right" must be used with sincerity. Overuse it, and it becomes hollow. Use it sparingly, at the right time, with presence, and it becomes unforgettable. So remember, acknowledging truth is not defeat. It's liberation. It frees the other person from defending themselves. And when someone no longer feels the need to defend, they lean closer. They trust more deeply. They remember you longer. But there is one final step. Because beyond understanding, beyond recognition, beyond validation, there is the rarest gift of all, the gift of pure presence. And it begins with 2 words. I'm listening. 4. Listen, the rarest gift of all. Think about this. In a world where everyone is shouting to be heard, the one who truly listens stands out like fire in the dark. When you look someone in the eye and say, "I'm listening," you're doing more than confirming you heard the words. You're sending a deeper message. Right now, you matter. Right now, you have my full attention. And attention is the currency of human connection. Most people spend it carelessly scrolling, interrupting, rehearsing their reply instead of listening. Studies from the University of Minnesota reveal something shocking. The average person remembers only about 25% of what they hear. Genuine listening is rare. And because it is rare, it is priceless. The Stoics understood this long before modern science. Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we can listen twice as much as we speak." And Seneca reminded us that wisdom shows itself not in quick words, but in the patience to hear fully before responding. To listen is to master the impulse to dominate. Barack Obama, one of the most admired communicators of our time, is known less for his speeches and more for his presence. In private meetings, he leaned forward, locked eyes, and listened. People left the room saying not just, "He spoke well," but "He heard me." That is why they followed him. That is why they trusted him. Because here's the truth: looks may attract for a moment, status may impress for a season, but the feeling of being deeply heard, that is what binds people to you for life. So remember this: to listen is to step outside your ego and into someone else's world. It is not weakness, it is mastery. It is discipline, humility, and strength, the very virtues the Stoics prized most. And when you practice listening, something extraordinary happens. People don't just talk to you, they open themselves to you. And in that moment, you become unforgettable. 5. The secret phrase that changes everything. So now you know the 4 words: understand, sense, right, listen. Each one a tool, each one a key, that unlocks connection at a deeper level. But here's the challenge: what good are these tools if the door never opens? Most conversations begin with the same lifeless script. "Hi, how are you?" It's polite, yes, but it rarely sparks anything real. It rarely makes you memorable. That's why I want to give you something better. A phrase so simple, so unexpected it shifts the energy instantly. Instead of, "How are you?" say, "Tell me something good." Listen to how different that feels. It doesn't trap the other person in routine. It lifts them, it disarms them, it invites them to pause, to think, to share something meaningful. Suddenly, you are not just another face in the crowd, you are the person who pulled light out of their day. This is the Stoic way. Presence over routine, meaning over noise. Words that awaken rather than words that numb. Marcus Aurelius urged himself daily to live with intention, and this is intention in practice, not wasting moments on empty scripts, but choosing language that connects. So next time you meet someone, try it. Look them in the eye and say, "Tell me something good." And then remember the 4 timeless tools: understand, sense, right, listen. Because in the end, attraction is not about chasing, it's about awakening. And awakening begins with the right words.